Ladies, do you remember your first crush? Because I remember my first crush. Oh, it was a guy. It's always been that way. But we're living in different times now with social media and with so much exposure, and people are more free with their sexualities that the kids nowadays are more open than years ago. So, my question to you ladies is, what advice do you give kids and parents whose first crush possibly isn't like a standard or a traditional crush?
Wow.
You know, being a parent of two 12-year-olds, me and my ex were having a conversation about talking to them about sex, talking to them about, girls liking them, or maybe perhaps they like a girl. And then my ex said to me, we also have to talk to them about boys liking them. And I hadn't thought about that. He goes, we have to, we
good.
want them to respect the boys just as they respect the girls, and in the way they handle it. You know what I mean? Whether they say, you know what, I think you're great, but I'm not into boys. I like girls, or I don't like a particular girl if she came at them. So I never really thought about that. And then I thought, you're right. I didn't really have to do that with my older son, Oliver. And now times, it's a different world in a way that people are more upfront about it, and kids are more upfront about it. I have so many
Yep.
parents that have, two moms or two dads, and I had to actually think about it. You still have to respect the other person's feelings, even if you're not into that. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
Well, what do you
Absolutely.
say?
So it's a conversation. Well, I just said you have to figure out who you like, if you like girls or if you like boys, and then address it accordingly. But I remember my son Jax, when he was in like preschool, I had a pink bow. Somebody had given me a pink bow that was like a clip on a gift. And he fell in love with that bow, and he wore that bow in his hair. And I would take him to preschool, and the first day he wore it, we walked into the class and I said, Jax loves this bow. And the teacher completely caught on, and she was like, hey, Jax, I love the bow too. And he wore it for a week, and then he
Great.
got over it. So I think it's
Wow.
the tone that you set with the kids so that they can understand that it's okay if somebody else likes them that they're not into.
When I was a young girl, I remember having crushes on women for sure. Like, I literally would become obsessed with like my Sunday school teacher and legit feel like I guess like a young version of like, oh, I'm in love with this person, and literally tell my mom in the room, I miss this person, I love her, and like literally become like slightly obsessive with this woman. I loved what they wore. I remember noticing women in my church who I grew up with church culture who wore button down shirts, and like you could see the peekaboo on the side of like their bra, and being like and being
Yeah.
fascinated with that, and being very curious of like, oh my gosh, I can see her bra and it's lacy, or she has big breasts. I want to have big breasts when I grow up, and all of these sorts of things. And I'm sure that my mother recognized that this was super strange or odd. But instead of sexualizing it, she just let me figure out my own thing instead of putting a label on me or asking me
Yeah.
deeper questions that made me think about it deeper. Like, Adrian, well, why do you look at her bra? But like, she never sexualized it. So I was able to form my own idea and my own identity on my own with time. So now I realize,
I
wow,
had
I
a
just
crush
really
on my
wanted
second
lacy
grade
bras
teacher.
and I wanted big breasts. Yeah, and
Oh, I'm
did
sorry.
that necessarily mean that it was sexual or that you wanted to have sex
No.
with her?
No, I admired her. She used to wear short skirts and she used to wear boots. She had long hair, and when we were loud, she would just stand at the door with her hands on her hip, and she would count for us to stop talking. And I thought that was really cool, and I admired her, and I thought she was the coolest teacher ever.
But did you find
What's
this
so
sounds weird,
important,
but
what
did
you
you
guys
find it
are
sexy?
talking about is making sure to hear kids' feelings. Feelings are valid. And I think when parents either shun their kids for having feelings and not let them express, just to at least voice, like even you, Adrian, if you noticed a woman and somebody said, don't say that, that makes you gay, you're already going to teach this kid to exhibit signs of homophobia.
Well, it's always important to know that Times are changing, lifestyles are changing. The CDC has reported that 8% of high school students in America report to being gay or bisexual. We've come a long way. In the 70s, bisexuality and homosexuality was considered mental illness. We've erased those thoughts, and I'm so proud. And whoever you are, be yourself, okay?